Hey everyone, I'm working to hit 1,000 subscribers and I need your help to get there. If you enjoy this content, please hit that subscribe button right now.
Good, good. So when you went back and kind of looked at the game, what was the things that when you took away from it, you said, I really like what I did here, and really feel like this is things I needed to really work on and progress on.
Another Sunday, another gut-wrenching loss, another week of Cleveland Browns fans screaming at their televisions, wondering how their team can possibly snatch defeat from the jaws of victory yet again. This isn't just about losing anymore. This is about watching a team repeatedly beat itself with baffling coaching decisions, mental mistakes, and a complete inability to execute when the game is on the line. The frustration has reached a boiling point, and Browns fans are done making excuses. They want accountability, they want change, and most of all, they want answers. But amidst all the chaos and disappointment, something interesting is happening in Cleveland. A spark, a glimmer of hope. His name is Shedeur Sanders, and he's officially the starting quarterback for the Browns heading into their week matchup against the Tennessee Titans. Head coach Kevin Stefanski confirmed what many had been hoping for. Sanders has won the job, at least for now, edging out fellow rookie Dillon Gabriel after compiling a 1-1 record in his first two starts. This isn't just a quarterback change. This feels like a cultural shift, a changing of the guard, and possibly the beginning of a new era in Cleveland. The question is whether that era will be defined by genuine progress or just another chapter in the Browns' endless book of false hope. The energy around Shedeur Sanders is palpable. You can feel it in the locker room, on the field, and even filtering through the fan base. Players are rallying behind him in a way they haven't rallied behind anyone all season. There's a swagger, a confidence, an electricity that's been missing from this team since the moment the season kicked off. Running back Quinshon Judkins didn't mince words when talking about his rookie quarterback after the tough loss to the San Francisco 49ers. He called Sanders a great quarterback who handles himself well and has earned the respect of every single person in that locker room. That kind of endorsement doesn't come lightly. It's not lip service. It's genuine respect from a teammate who sees something special brewing. When your players start publicly backing the new guy, when they start believing in him even in defeat, that tells you everything you need to know about his leadership potential. What makes this situation so fascinating is that the Browns actually drafted two quarterbacks this year, two talented rookies with completely different skill sets and playing styles. Dillon Gabriel had his opportunity in the first half of the season to prove he could be the guy. He showed flashes, sure, but he didn't seize the moment the way Sanders seems to be doing right now. Gabriel's time as the starter resulted in more questions than answers, and when you're a rookie quarterback trying to establish yourself in the NFL, questions are the last thing you want surrounding your game. Sanders, on the other hand, has brought something different to the table. More explosive plays, more energy, more life. The offense simply looks more dynamic with him under center, and that's not a coincidence. It's a reflection of his unique ability to create plays both inside and outside the pocket, his natural feel for the game, and that intangible quality that separates good quarterbacks from potential franchise cornerstones. Now, Kevin Stefanski, in typical fashion, is playing his cards close to the vest. He's not committing to Sanders beyond the Tennessee game, keeping his options open and refusing to declare a long-term plan. But let's be real here. Unless Shedeur completely implodes against the Titans, unless he throws 5 interceptions and fumbles 3 times, he's going to finish out this season as the starter. And that's exactly what should happen. You don't bench a guy who's bringing energy and playmaking ability back to your offense. You don't pull the plug on momentum just because you want to keep your options open. You ride the hot hand. You let the kid develop. You give him a real chance to show what he can do over a sustained period of time. That's how you find out if you have a franchise quarterback or not. But let's pump the brakes for just a second and acknowledge the elephant in the room. There are growing pains. There have to be. Sanders hasn't had a full offseason as the starter. He hasn't gotten all the first-team reps in practice. He's still building chemistry with his receivers, still learning the nuances of the offense, still adjusting to the speed of the NFL game, and sometimes that inexperience shows. Case in point, the heated sideline exchange between Shedeur and wide receiver Jerry Jeudy during the 49ers game. Frustration bubbled over after Sanders missed Jeudy on a couple of key throws, and the cameras caught every second of it. On the surface, it looked like dysfunction. It looked like a relationship in trouble before it even got started. But here's the thing. This kind of tension is actually normal. It's part of the process of building chemistry between a quarterback and receiver. These two haven't had a lot of time to work together, and when you're in the heat of battle, emotions run high. What matters now is how they respond moving forward. Now that Sanders is officially the starter, he'll be getting all those first-team reps. He'll be building that timing and trust with Jeudy every single day in practice. If this thing is going to work, it has to start now. But let's also acknowledge another hard truth. Jerry Jeudy can't be the only weapon in this passing attack if the Browns are serious about building around Shedeur Sanders. Jeudy is talented, no question, but he's not a true number one receiver in this league. He's a really good number two who thrives when there's another elite option drawing attention away from him. If Cleveland wants to set Sanders up for success, if they want to give him the tools he needs to become a legitimate franchise quarterback, they need to go out this offseason and get him another top-tier receiver. Someone who can win one-on-one matchups consistently. Someone who can be a true security blanket in critical moments. Someone who can take over a game when needed. That's not Jeudy's game, and expecting him to be that guy is setting everyone up for disappointment. Now let's talk about what really cost the Browns this game against San Francisco, because it wasn't Shedeur Sanders. It was coaching. Specifically, it was Kevin Stefanski making one of the most head-scratching, inexplicable, utterly baffling decisions you'll see all season. 4th and 1 in their own territory. The game is still tight. The Browns are only down 10-8. One stop, one score, and you're right back in this thing. What does Stefanski call? A quarterback sneak with the rookie tight end Harold Fannin Jr. carrying the ball while rushing the snap. Not with your quarterback, not with your bruising running back, with a rookie tight end who has barely touched the football all season. The result? A fumble. San Francisco recovers. They score a touchdown on the very next play. Just like that, a manageable 2-point deficit becomes a 2-score game, and the Browns are suddenly staring down the barrel of another loss. The momentum completely shifted in that moment, and it was entirely self-inflicted. When asked about the decision postgame, Stefanski defended it, saying he felt good about the play call. He felt good about it. That response right there encapsulates everything that's frustrating about Kevin Stefanski's tenure as head coach. The refusal to acknowledge mistakes, the constant deflection, the same tired phrases repeated week after week. We all need to be better. We have to execute. Young guys made mistakes. Browns fans have heard it all before, and they're sick of it. At some point, a coach has to take real accountability, not just offer hollow platitudes that sound good in a press conference, but mean absolutely nothing when the losses keep piling up. Stefanski is a 2-time Coach of the Year, and that's not nothing. He's clearly a talented coach who knows how to scheme an offense. But his in-game decision-making has been questionable all season, and his inability to own those mistakes is eroding trust with both the fan base and potentially even the locker room. And it's not just the offense where coaching failures showed up. Special teams was an absolute disaster against the 49ers. A 66-yard punt return allowed. A muffed punt by Gage Larvadain that led directly to another San Francisco touchdown. Malachi Corley stepping out of bounds at the 5-yard line on a return. This unit has been a liability all season long, and special teams coordinator Bubba Ventrone is squarely in the hot seat. Multiple special teams touchdowns allowed this year. Repeated mental mistakes, a complete lack of fundamentals and discipline. And yet, just like Stefanski, Ventrone gets protected post-game with excuses about young players making mistakes. But here's the question nobody seems to want to answer. Why do these mistakes keep happening? Why aren't these young players learning? Why does the same team keep making the same errors week after week after week? At some point, you have to stop blaming the players and start looking at the coaching. That's where accountability truly begins, and right now, there's precious little of it in Cleveland. Even with all of that dysfunction, all of those mistakes, all of those coaching blunders, Shedeur Sanders still gave the Browns a fighting chance. His stats weren't flashy or eye-popping, but they were solid. In fact, in some key metrics, he actually outperformed the opposing quarterback. But the scoreboard didn't reflect that because of all the self-inflicted wounds, all the blown opportunities, all the poor execution in critical moments. The margin between a tough loss and a statement win in the NFL is razor thin, and time again this season, the Browns have found themselves on the wrong side of that line, not because they lack talent, not because they're getting blown out, but because they keep beating themselves. So here's where we are. Shedeur Sanders is the starter moving forward, at least for the Tennessee Titans game, and likely for the remainder of the season. He's brought energy, playmaking ability, and genuine belief back to a team that desperately needed all three. The locker room is behind him. The fan base is cautiously optimistic. And for the first time in a long time, there's a sense that maybe, just maybe, the Browns have found something real at the quarterback position. But Sanders can't do it alone. He needs better coaching. He needs cleaner execution around him. He needs his special teams to stop giving away points. He needs his defense to stay disciplined. And most importantly, he needs Kevin Stefanski to stop making decisions that actively sabotage the team's chances of winning. The matchup against Tennessee is massive. It's not just another game on the schedule. It's a litmus test for everything this team hopes to become. The Titans' defense isn't elite, but they're physical and opportunistic. They'll test Sanders' composure, his decision-making, his ability to handle pressure. This is the kind of game where he can either solidify his grip on the starting job for good or open the door back up for Dillon Gabriel. The stakes couldn't be higher. But if Shedeur plays the way he's capable of playing, if the coaching staff doesn't sabotage him with idiotic play calls, and if the rest of the team shows up and executes, the Browns have a real shot to get back in the win column and build some actual momentum heading into the final stretch of the season. What's particularly intriguing about this whole situation is the long-term implications. If Sanders continues to develop, if he keeps growing more comfortable in the offense, if he builds genuine chemistry with guys like Jerry Jeudy and Quinshon Judkins, this could completely reshape the Browns' offseason strategy. Suddenly, Cleveland might not feel the pressure to draft another quarterback in the first round or trade significant assets for a veteran. Instead, they could finally do something they haven't done in decades: build around a young quarterback, surround him with weapons, bolster the offensive line, add defensive pieces, create a sustainable winning culture. That's the dream scenario, and while it's still early, Sanders is showing enough to make people believe it might actually be possible. But even if the quarterback situation is starting to settle, the rest of the operation remains a mess. The fourth quarter collapse against San Francisco wasn't just about turnovers or missed throws. It was about discipline, or rather, the complete lack of it. From the decision to run that fourth down play with a rookie tight end to the repeated special teams failures, the Browns are losing games on execution, preparation, and leadership. Those are coaching issues. Those fall squarely on the staff, and Kevin Stefanski in particular. His explanations aren't landing anymore. The fans aren't buying it. The media is pushing back harder each week, and you get the sense that even some players in the locker room are starting to lose patience. At some point, words have to match actions. Accountability has to be more than just a buzzword thrown around in press conferences. It has to manifest in actual changes, actual adjustments, actual results. So far, that hasn't happened, and that's why the heat around Stefanski is rising to uncomfortable levels despite his Coach of the Year pedigree. The defense, which has been a relative strength this season, also showed some concerning cracks. Shelby Harris made some interesting comments post-game about 49ers receiver Jawan Jennings getting under players' skin, which suggests that even the veterans are feeling the frustration. That fire, that competitive edge, can be a really good thing. It shows guys care, but it can also boil over into something destructive if the locker room feels like they're being dragged down by poor coaching and preventable mistakes. Managing that emotional balance is crucial, especially down the stretch of a difficult season, and it's going to be one of the key challenges facing this coaching staff. Injuries are also starting to pile up. Defensive lineman Malik Collins went down during the 49ers game, and while we're still waiting for official updates on his status, losing a key rotational piece like him could have serious ripple effects on the defensive front. This is where depth becomes absolutely critical, and the Browns need to be smart about managing snap counts and keeping their key players healthy as they navigate this final stretch of games. One or two more significant injuries on defense could derail whatever positive momentum Sanders might be building on offense. Looking ahead, Every single snap matters from here on out. Every decision, every play call, every execution. The Browns are at a legitimate crossroads. They can either ride this wave of energy that Shedeur Sanders is bringing and turn this season into something meaningful, or they can continue making the same mistakes, continue shooting themselves in the foot, and continue disappointing a fan base that deserves so much better. The talent is there. The potential is there. The belief is starting to form. Now it's about consistency. Consistency in who's under center. Consistency in play calling. Consistency in execution. Shedeur Sanders might not be the perfect quarterback right now. He's a rookie with plenty to learn and room to grow. But he gives Cleveland something they haven't had in a long time, a fighting chance and genuine hope. And right now, that's more valuable than anything else. So, Browns fans, buckle up. The Tennessee Titans game is coming fast, and it might just define the rest of this season. Will Shedeur Sanders continue his ascent and prove he's the real deal? Will Kevin Stefanski make another inexplicable decision that costs his team a winnable game? Will the special teams finally get their act together? These are the questions that will be answered very soon, and you're going to want to be watching every single second. Drop a comment right now and let everyone know what you think. Should Shedeur Sanders be the starter for the rest of the season? Is Kevin Stefanski on the hot seat? What does this team need to do to turn things around? The comment section is where the real conversation happens, so don't be shy. Smash that like button if you believe in number 12 and think he's the future of this franchise. And make absolutely sure you're subscribed to this channel with notifications turned on, because we're bringing you every update, every analysis, every hot take on the Cleveland Browns as this wild season continues to unfold. There's another video on your screen right now with even more Browns content you need to see. Click it, watch it, stay informed. This is where you get the latest news first, the hottest takes, and the most comprehensive coverage of your Cleveland Browns. Let's ride with Shedeur Sanders and see where this thing goes. The journey is just beginning, and it's going to be one hell of a ride.